Thanks for joining me again here at Shed Creations. Good to have you back. Today I'm working on a little project that I've been asked to make several times, and I'm finally getting around to doing it, and I thought I'd bring you guys along for the journey. Now, hopefully this video won't be that long. I know my videos the last couple have been a bit longer. Trying my hardest to keep them short. It's not working. Yeah. But we'll get there eventually. So I've marked out some rough shapes on some MDF that I've got sitting around. It's going to be just over 22 inches high, and then it's very similar in width as well. It's a pretty straightforward, just a basic bare bones one. With me, it will probably change as I go along. I'll probably end up adding things to it or taking things away. Who knows? That's just what I do. So I'm going to move this out of the way, put a table up, get the table saw out so we can get cracking on ripping this down. Alright, stay with us. Gives you a chance to see some of the process I go through having such a small workshop of how I gotta do things. That's part of the way there. Remember when using something like a table saw, eye protection and mask especially with MDF, just because of how bad it can be for your internals. And hearing protection as well. Sorry, that's the other thing. And that's the only thing with that table saw. A really good table saw, but has really bad dust collection. Even with the Hoover directly stuck to it, don't do the greatest. Other than that, brilliant saw. So now get the table back down again. Bit here, and there's going to be a bit there, then obviously the next floor, then the other piece, then the top floor. So all will be good. I think I might see if I can get it in some corner clamps. Not the greatest, but I'll try. See if we can get a better look. So then we'll have another level here. What do you reckon? Reckon we're going to get this on, Annie? Not the easiest things to use, but they're not the worst. Then it will be that one will be over to another side. Might be able to clamp that from that side. Now where that is not set exactly where it's going to be, but it gives you a rough idea. Let's look up here, not going to stand there. And then that bit on top. So sort of get a glance from the back. I don't want to move too much because it will all come toppling down like it's about to. But there we go, that's a rough idea. Obviously there will be another side on there. And then in between here, there'll be some little doorways to sort of allow children to pass their dollies through. So that gives you a rough idea on how it's going to be. Right, so I have everything in a rough place of where I want it all. Next step, I need to take these parts out, cut the archways in them, and then I'll cut an arch in this. I might cut an arch in this one just to allow obviously to go through, but it'll only be a small one. So I've got the placement of where I want all these to be, so I'm happy with it. So let's take it apart. Right, over to the bandsaw, got my door marked out. Really and truly, the door can be any style or any way you want it to be. I'm just doing something that I just come out in my head. So I'm gonna get this roughly cut up. Now, if you're the sort that's worried about having your doors exactly the same, mirrored, whatever else, rather than being just a bit quirky, best thing to do is use double-sided tape, tape them together, and when you cut the doors out, they will be spot on. I'm not that fussed. So, just got this one left to do now, so I'm just going to mark it out. That's the doorways all done. They will get a smooth off as well. And yes, I'm keeping the scraps. You just never know. So the next thing is to work out where I'm going to do the doorways both to the front of the house, or whether I'm going to do one to the front and one to the back. I suppose as I'm putting it together, I'll be able to work that out a little bit. Now the only reason I'm going to do a rough fit is because I want to sand it all down before I go ahead and put it together. I think I'm going to leave this in plain MDF for now, just for whoever has it. They can then paint it their own choice of whatever colour they want. Carrying on with the doll's house, this is where we're up to at the moment. A little bit further ahead than what I've probably shown you already, but it's my fault for not pushing the play button. So we're getting there. Gonna do the roof that way. Gonna actually leave it overhanging up here as well. That still needs to be secured there because it's still flappy. other than that, it's pretty much done. I've just got to do another door for this top panel because I've changed that from the one I had in there previously. And then I think I am going to give it a paint. I think it'll look better. Might attract a few more buyers to the house. Yeah, bear with me while I work out the roof. So I did a prettier way of doing it all, would be with dowels hidden away and bits and bobs like that, but that's not a me way. So that's more roughly finished. I'm going to cut the door out of this next, and then once I'm at the stages of prepping for paint, I'll bring you back. So I'll see you then. So that's the step we're at the moment. Next thing is now is to put it back apart. Give all these parts that I want a round over on the round side. It will be a round over. I'm not going to change my mind this time. It'll be a round over. And then once that's done, just give it all the sand over. Obviously at the moment it's going to be awkward to get any of the sander. So once it's in pieces, I'll give it all a good going over. And then I'll whack it back together, fill the holes, then I am actually going to start painting it. So yeah, let's get cracking. Now there's probably not much need, but I am going to go ahead and mark them as I take them off, just so I do then remember where they go. Now I'm going to give them a sand over anyway, but at least I can make them miss that bit. It's the only downside to doing the table the way I've done it. There's a lot of faffing about to get it all back together again. Especially when you've only got the one trim router. That's why the router generally lives in it, rather than taking it out. Right, now we're set up. I just had to knock down the edge on that panel a little bit. But now we're set up. Let's start running around, get sorted. Right, so that's the bulk of it routed over. Don't think there's anything more to route. What I've done, hopefully you noticed when I was there, I've given the doors, the arches, a bit of a round over, give them a bit of a softer profile when we're inside there. Just thought it might make it look a bit nicer. I'll judge the wrong way there. It's not even the right one. Just make it look a little bit nicer, a bit softer looking when it's in there. And obviously the little kiddies, they can't catch your hands on them. Don't want they? We want all little kiddies coming back with all their fingers. Next step, just give it a good sand over. Give it a good sand over, give it a good prep, and then we'll be good to start assembling. Right, again with MDF, please wear a mask. I know you should with pretty much all wood anyway, small particles. MDF is one of the nasty ones that you're best off wearing a mask with all the time. You know, I know I forget and I'm a bit daft and I sometimes do forget to put it on, but for the majority of the time I do try to remember. So please just be safe, wear your PPE. That's what it's there for. Always helps if it's plugged in, doesn't it? So there we are, that's where it is at the moment. I think the video froze part way through me putting it back together again, so sorry about that. That's how it stands at the moment though. So all the sides have had a round over, the roof's had a round over all the way around, same as this part of the roof, and the doorways all the way through, they've had a nice round over. Just makes it look and feel a bit softer. Obviously it's an 80mm MDF that I'm using, so it softens it ever so slightly. So I've put it back together again now because obviously one of the steps is to sand all this over. I want to try and get these joins a lot flusher. They're not bad at all for one of my throwing together projects even. They're actually pretty decent. But what I've decided to do, a little spare of the moment thing, is to actually put some windows in it. So these were the first two I'm done. You can see I've marked out 2 on here, and then on this side I've marked out the 4 on here as well. So it wasn't something I was going to do, but it's something I decided to do. So the way I've done these ones, I marked them out, drilled a hole in 2 of the corners, and used a jigsaw basically to run from there out to the other corners, going out that way. Just a lot easier. So that's the next step now with these. I'll put you on a time lapse so you don't bore you too much with it. Right, that's all windows cut out now. So what I'm going to do the same for those, same as what I did for the sides and the archways. I'm going to give them a nice round over from the outside. I don't think I'll be able to get inside with my router. I might try with the trim one. I need to take that back out the table again now to do that. I'll give it a try, we'll see what happens. So it's nicely rounded over on the insides there. Give you a bit more of a look now. Looks a bit smarter, looks a bit tidier. So I'm just going to tidy up these corners a little bit because there's a couple of sharp edges where the router can't get to. And then I'll let it flatten and give it a good sand over. That's all the sanding done with it, thankfully. Windows have been rounded over really nicely, giving everything a little bit more of a sort of softer touch really. Even on the insides I've just done that by hand because I couldn't fit the router around it all. So I've just softened those edges just by hand. So the next step, so it looks like, it's quite tall, it's quite a big unit. Fit by, not by design necessarily, but I think it'll be perfect for a little one. Sitting nicely in their bedroom. So the next step, as I've given it a hoover off, just to get rid of as much dust as possible. So let's crack on and paint it. So I'm going to do this one just in white, primarily because that's what I've got sitting there. But also it just makes it a brighter look. If anyone wants to then paint over it themselves, you know, it's just a nice base coat, and then it means the MDF already has, it would have several coats before it goes to anyone. I think I'll put this up on Marketplace as well as on my website. And just alright, so we're getting on painting this doll's house. I've got everything in basically a primer at the moment. Looking alright actually. I wanted to get as much paint on these edges as possible because I don't know whether you guys know, working with MDF and stuff, it drinks the paint. So I've got as much on there as I could. Looks like it's sealed up quite well. Got a couple of bits left to touch up on it, but other than that it's alright. So I bought a roller this time just to make it a bit easier because it's quite a big surface, and I thought getting in here with a roller would be a bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, let's crack on. Let me put you on time lapse because I'm sure you know what it's like to paint something. Right, so that's it. We're all done with the doll's house now. I'm really happy with how this one's turned out. For something that's just come out of my brain and gone into a build, I'm really chuffed with it. As you can see, it is a fair size, and obviously it could be played through both sides, which they played with both sides. Ended up putting little windows in it, which I showed you, but that's how they turned out. And again, I'm really happy with that. I chose not to go with any right up in the loft area, just because I thought it wouldn't look right. So yeah, that's it. Job done. Happy days. If you are interested in it for any of your little ones, then shoot us a message. You know, it will be up for sale on the website as well. I will put it up on the Marketplace local to where I am as well, and we'll see what happens with it. But for now, happy days, we're all done. Move on to the next project. See you then.